Hello, everybody, and I'm Dr. Rashmi Sarkar. I'm the chair of the ILDS Education Committee, and I'm also an ILDS board member. Well, from the ILDS Education Committee, as you know, we are running a number of webinars, some under the masterclass and also the leadership webinars. So I'm really happy today to bring to you the second leadership webinar. What is important about these is that they feature one global dermatology leader for you, and they are webinars which are open for interactions. So remember that after the webinar, you can unmute or you can raise up your hand. Best is that please raise up your hand from the symbols below the screen and ask to be unmuted, and then you can ask your question live. Now, as Simon Sinek has very well said, a great leader doesn't only inspire us to have confidence in what they can do. A great leader inspires us to have confidence in what we can do. And perhaps that is very apt, very perfect for the global dermatology leader we have with us today, and that is none other than Dr. María Ivonne Arellano Mendoza from Mexico. She is a person who silently inspires and prods people to do their best, inspiring them to do absolutely their best. A few words about her. Dr. María Ivonne Arellano Mendoza was born in Mexico. In her own words, it's a wonderful country, famous for its historic legacy, geographical richness, traditions, and cultural and gastronomic heritage. She studied medicine and graduated as a dermatologist and a dermatologic surgeon in 1991 and completed her Master of Science in 2016. Next. She was head of the Dermatology Department at Hospital General de Mexico for 5 years, that is 2016 to 2021, and has worked there for 35 years in total. She serves as the ILDS Secretary General and represents Latin America as well. She is a global expert on pigmentary disorders and tropical diseases, and is also the president of Terra Silat, which will take place in Mexico City, Mexico this year. She places best professional standards, ethical leadership, values, and principles as very important in a professional work. I've had the pleasure of knowing, Dr. Ivonne for the past more than 2 decades, where we met commonly through the Skin of Color Society and also the Women's Dermatologic Society. And it's been great to see her climb up the ladder, of success to serve you as the Secretary General of ILDS. Well, I would also like to introduce Dr. Jorge Ocampo-Candiani. Can you please get the next slide? So he's Professor Emeritus Jorge Ocampo-Candiani. He's the chairman at the Dermatology Department, University of Nuevo León, Monterrey, Mexico, and he's going to be co-moderating this session with me in Spanish. So you can ask questions in English and also in Spanish. Let us add to the flavor of, Latin American and other places. He is in private practice in dermatology and dermatologic surgery, Medipe Centro Dermatológico, Monterrey, Mexico. He's a National System Researchers Level 3 Emeritus, which is the maximum level. He's a member of 19 national and international societies. But most importantly, you all know him as the president of the World Congress of Dermatology at Guadalajara 2027, where we are expecting a lot of you to come. He is a member of the Mexican Academy of Sciences, the Mexican Academy of Surgery, and the National Academy of Medicine. He's also importantly serving with us as a board member of the International League of Dermatological Societies, the ILDS. He's also an academician to the core, and he's an author of 6 books, 55 chapters, and 536 articles, which I think is very, very inspiring. So with that, I'm going to thank you, but please remember that submit any questions or comments throughout the webinar in the Zoom chat. We will try to be with you, but we would love for you to speak live at the end of the webinar when you raise up the hand, and that is a cue for Emma or Jennifer to unmute you. So please do introduce yourself and ask the question. With that, I'm sure you must be waiting to hear about the leadership journey of Dr. María Ivonne Arellano Mendoza. Over to you, Dr. Ivonne.
Thank you, Rashmi, for this very nice introduction and, of course, for the invitation. It is always a pleasure to be with you in these webinars, but also it is very interesting as a reflection of our lives, because after thinking what I was going to say, it is difficult to choose what has been the most important moment in your academic life. So, being said this, I want to show you these nice pictures. These are my parents on their wedding day with my beautiful mother, and my father was a very outstanding uh, person. He was an engineer, an aeronautic engineer, and he was the first in his family to do a professional career and to have a master outside. He studied aeronautics engineering, and he had his master in Michigan, in Flint, in the GM Tech. My mother is an accountant, and she had both worked all their life. My father has now passed away, but my mother is still a very important part of my family. She is always joyful, and she was always encouraging us to do new and better things. So, being said that, uh, this is me when I was a child, and I show you this because maybe as parents or influencing people in childhood, you never dimension the importance of the decisions you take on behalf of your the young ones. My parents, well, we are five brothers, and they decided that much of the family income was to be uh, distributed in education and health. So uh, we started to go to a school that was very important at that time in Mexico, and it was the Modern American School. Why do I say this? Because this was a school that was very advanced for the time, and we had to learn English and write it and speak it as almost in a bilingual form. And this was very important because 60 years ago, it was not common that children would learn a second language in Mexico. So maybe because my father had studied abroad and my mother had this vision also, we had a very, very useful and funding education for us in the future. Then I attended to a private medicine school. It's called Facultad Medicina, Mexican Faculty of Medicine. And uh, throughout the years, it was difficult to have my general medicine degree, but finally we could uh, make that done also. Here I appear with the rest of my generation students, and I can tell you that all of them have also been very successful in their private practice or public careers, academic ones. So I think it was also a very good school. And throughout that time, I had the opportunity to make very good friends. Here I am in the picture with the rest of my friends that we've been seeing us as soon or as frequently as we can, and we share our experiences in different areas of medicine. This is my first mentor. It's Dr. Gladys Leon. I met her when I was in the School of Medicine, and she was my dermatology teacher. So when she asked me to give some classes with my classmates, and then she saw that I liked dermatology, and so she asked me and she invited me to my first big opportunity that was to be a dermatology instructor in in general medicine career. So I worked as this in this role for 2 or 3 years, and then in Mexico you do 1 year of social service after your internship, and I also did that with her. And over the years, she helped me to shape my personality as a dermatologist. She was a very important teacher. She did a Master of Science in Clinical Epidemiology and Research in McMaster in Canada. And uh, she introduced us as residents, as in the research community, how to do that kind of work, to perform in different ways. So I am very thankful for her example. And she was also um, a very good friend, I can say, because she was always looking for our wellness in different areas of our life, not only for dermatology. So now she has passed away, and I am very happy to have this opportunity to recognize how important was her presence in my life. This is my one of the most important persons that I have the opportunity to work with. He accepted me to in the residency program in Hospital General de Mexico, where I have done almost all my professional and academic life. This is Dr. Amado Saul. And here you can see, well, with me in different uh, stages of my academic life. But if you can see, I choose this picture because you can see in the back the certificate of appreciation of the International League of Dermatological Societies. It was for him a very important award. It was a recognition of his very important work with Hansen patients and in this public hospital, and as the head of the residency program for almost 17 years. He installed the first residency program almost in Mexico, and Dr. Gladys Leon was his first resident. So it was very important for me to meet them both because of their hard work and their example. And when he didn't feel very well, he had written the first book of dermatology lessons for general medicine and to be for the medical students. And when he was not uh, with enough, I think, energy, he told me to change the name of this book, instead of Lessons of Dermatology, to Saul, Lessons of Dermatology, and I had to actualize this book every 5 years. So this was one of the greatest honors that you can receive, that your professor gives you the mission of continuing his labor because he sees like something good in you. Then uh, we had the next, we had many good moments with him. And one of the things he taught us is that during academic life, you have also the opportunity to share your knowledge in other countries, mainly in Latin America, and that this is an opportunity to have good friends and to know new places, to see their culture, the way they work, the food they eat, and this enriches you very much in your personality and helps you understand many differences in the development of different countries. And we all look forward to do the same things he did. So when you were going, or when he sent you to give a conference in other countries, he will say, and as part of this experience, you have to go, for example, here in Ecuador, he said you have to go and visit the middle of the world and see how it is. And so we were very obedient and we did what he had asked us for. And here I am in the middle of the world in Ecuador. And it was in that trip a very, very nice experience. After that, after completing my general dermatology residence, I did a subspecialty with Dr. Jorge Peniche here in the picture. He was the first to install a cutaneous dermatologic surgery department as part of the dermatology department, and it was one of the first of Latin America. And we learned a lot at the time. Where when I did my specialty, we only were two residents, and we saw 64 patients in a day. And after that, we also did the biopsies and the cutaneous surgery. So we would be out of the residency at very late hours, maybe 6 or 7 some days. So it was a very enriching experience to see directly for one of our leaders how cutaneous surgery and an oncology department should be run. Here we are with him in the middle, and you can see the group we were with him when we started organizing this Mexican Society of Dermatology Congresses many, many years ago. We started by helping with the scientific program, and then he always said, well, this is a very good training for you, because in the future, uh, you will be Secretary General and then President of the Congress. So you need to know every single thing about organizing these meetings. And here I am with Dr. Armando Medina and Dr. Fermín Jurado, that, as he said, they later were presidents, secretaries general, at the same as me. Here we can see Dr. Stuart Salache. I am very grateful in life to having met him and to having him as a mentor. After I concluded my specialty as a dermatologic surgeon, I went to a perfection or some high specialty course that was called Dr. Greenway's course in Scripps Clinic in San Diego, in California, and where you could be there for 2 weeks learning specific surgical techniques. And there I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Salache. Here I am with him in the picture, and my cousin Rosanna, that we were there in San Diego for almost 2 weeks. And after that, he gave me 2 books, the dermatologic surgery tips and techniques, that it's still updated, and it is very useful. I really recommend you to look at it because it will help you in your everyday practice. And he participated in writing also the book called Dermatology. Now we know that book like the Bologna. And he gave for our dermatology department, for all the residents, a copy of this book, and it was his copy. So we highly appreciated it because it was very useful at that time, because we didn't have so much access to these international books. So he was also the editor of the American Society of Dermatologic Surgery Bulletin, and throughout almost 15 to 17 years, he was a very close mentor for me. He set a very high example, and I am really also very grateful for having knowing him and to have him as a mentor and friend. Now, this is one of the most important moments in my life. After being in School of Medicine and instructor of dermatology, I was appointed professor of dermatology, and I worked for Facultad de Medicina in La Salle in Mexico for 40 years. And in 2014, I was appointed emeritus professor, and I was the first woman in the faculty in the medicine school to be appointed with this degree. So it was very gratifying to receive this appointment as emeritus professor, and I have been a teacher in my faculty for almost 40 years. These are some historic pictures of Hospital General de Mexico. This is Mexico General Hospital, that are very important. In the upper left, you can see President Porfirio Diaz that opened this hospital in 1905, and it was constructed just as the European hospitals of the time, with different specialty pavilions, and there was no dermatology department. So then about 10 or 12 years later, we had a dermatology department, and that's where the history started for us, because it was a university hospital and was specialized in training health resources in different specialties for the rest of the country. Here in the right, you can see a picture where the original hospital was, and then it started growing very much. Here we can see it, a portrait of it in the early 80s. And this is now how my hospital looks. I am very proud of have been part of the staff for these 35 years. And if we add the 4 years of residency and subspecialty, I have spent there almost 40 years of my life. Here in this picture, we can see one of the dermatology staffs with the residents. Here we can see in the middle, Dr. Amado Saúl, and then next to him, Dr. Jorge Peniche, Dr. Gladys León. Then next to Dr. Gladys León, we can see Dr. Rosa Maria Ponce, that she has been my best friend for almost 25 years. And with the arrow, you can see me. Then, many years after this picture was taken, see how the staff has grown. And at that time, it was the first time that was my first year as head of the department. My teachers, the great professor, had all passed away. So we had with Rosa Maria the task of continuing their labor, training residents, in high quality standards. And next to Rosa Maria, we can see Dr. Alejandro Bonifaz, that he is one of the best mycologists in Latin America, and he has been next to us teaching the residents for many, many years. Something that it's very important is that you can see here the nurse department, that it is very, very important for us. They work very closely and in the care and well-being of the patients in dermatology. And as you, we can all recognize, they are very important staff members that support our everyday doing, and we couldn't be or do what all the things we do if they were not next to us. Here are some pictures of very important moments in my life. In the left, you can see me with the former presidents of the General Hospital Medical Society. I had the honor of presiding this multi-specialty society, and we did a lot of things, and we organized some congress that were multidisciplinary. So it is very important that in my hospital we always work near the nurses and the social workers, and they support in very important ways our everyday doing. In the middle picture, you can see me when I received the award that it's called Doctora María Elena Ansures. She was a very important surgeon in General Hospital, and after her, they installed an award that was given to me as the best doctor in 2016. So I am very proud of this award. And in the other side, you can see me with Dr. Jaime Piquero and Dr. Ricardo Pérez Alfonso. They were kind enough to award me as a lecturer of the Dr. Jacinto Convit lecture, that this is one of the greatest honors that you can receive in Latin America. So I am grateful for all these awards, and well, they have made me very proud of seeing this recognition to my professional life. And then, as you can know very well, one of my best friends, or my best friend, I can say, it is Jorge Ocampo. He is now going to be, or he is the president of the next World Congress of Dermatology. And together we started an adventure in 2010, and we had both been members of the Ibero-Latin American College of Dermatology for many years. He had already been president of the college, and someday he called me and he said, we are going to host the Ibero-Latin American Congress in Dermatology in Cancun. And I said, oh my goodness, that's a big one. And we started working. And as you know, he's a very good leader. I was in charge of organizing and doing a very important part of this Congress as the liaison with the pharmaceutic industry. And I can tell you that it was a very big success. After this, I started participating more actively in several boards in this Latin American College of Dermatology. Here, where you can see me with Dr. Perez Alfonso. I don't know if you can see the arrow, but this is Dr. Perez Alfonso, and next to him is Dr. Gatti. In the side, we can see Dr. Judith Dominguez, that also has worked a lot with us, Dr. Horacio Cabo, and Dr. Jose Luis Lopez Estebarán, that was I was also his Secretary General during his presidency. Now we can see in the other side, Dr. Omar Lupi, the current president of the Ibero-Latin American College of Dermatology. In this endeavor, I can tell you that I have met very, very, very important dermatologists in Latin America. In the upper part, we can see Dr. Emilia Cohen, Dr. Elda, well, from Argentina, Dr. Elda Jansante from Venezuela, then it's me, and there is Patricia Torello, that is also a very important dermatologist in the acne field globally. We can see other pictures where we can, where we are in different congresses organized by the Ibero-Latin American College of Dermatology. And it is very important for me to be surrounded by young dermatologists because I think they can give you fresh and new and very creative ideas as you move forward on this leadership. So it is not only that you mentor them, but that you listen to them and hear about these new ideas and projects that are really very important for all of us. One of them is that I was appointed editor in 2020 of Medicina Cutánea Ibero-Latinoamericana, that it as the official diffusion journal for Colegio Ibero-Latinoamericano de Dermatología. When we received this journal, I thought this was a very gigantic task and I was a little bit overwhelmed. So this journal was only written in Spanish. So this was a limitation for other countries to read our articles. So then we started a new task with my co-editors. You can see in the picture, Dr. Alba Cicero, and in the bottom, many of you have met him before. It is Dr. Carlos Garcia. He works in Oklahoma, and he's a Mohs surgeon. And the three of us could finally achieved that this journal is written in English and translated at the same time to Spanish. So now we have three official languages for the diffusion of this, that it is Spanish, our original language, English, and Portuguese. So it is important that now everyone can submit their articles or in any of these languages, and they will be translated by the journal to the other two. So we have also been participating in social and underserved areas. Here we are in Pramed. Here we're with other dermatologists that have gone to these endeavors with us in training the health professionals in dermatology disease. And here we can see another very important reason of being like a leader and it is to work with young professionals. This is Dr. Almudena Nuño from Spain, and this is Mariel Isa from Dominican Republic, that as you can see, they have been with us doing much of this work. And another important thing in leadership is, well, of course, incorporating residents to all the academic activities because their work is as important as ours and they trust us in having them learn dermatology and to be projected not only academically, but in private practice and academic or every other aspect. So it is important to include them always in everything you do. Also, to learn to work with other colleagues. Here we can see with Dr. Eduardo Poletti. And many times you will see that the things you do prepare you for tough times. Here we can see Dr. Gatti, that was president of SILAD and also education leader. And when we were, I think in 2020, just 1 year before the pandemic for COVID started, we were transmitting courses from high specialty internal medicine or clinical medicine from my hospital, because in my hospital we have a television channel. And so we broadcasted webinars, and half of them from Mexico City and half of them from Argentina. And at first we said, well, if we have 50 attendees, we will be very satisfied. And for our big surprise, in the first edition, we had more than 300 people registered. And it kept on growing. And it prepared us for these difficult times in which we transmitted the first webinar during the COVID pandemic and in Latin America, and we had an over 1,000 attendees. From there on, the education department in SILAT growth exponentially, and we can now say that we have more than 15 diplomatures, and we have a lot of people registered and concluding successfully these programs. So it is important also to work with people that do different things than you and that have new and fresh ideas. Here, I found this picture where I was representing as president of the Dermatologic Surgeries Society in Mexico in the General Assembly of the League of Dermatological Societies many, many years ago. And here we can see in my starts when, well, we were promoting the Congress, the World Congress in Vancouver. Here we can see Dr. Harvey Louis, then Dr. Judith Dominguez, Dr. Francisco Perez Atamoros, and here, of course, my friend, Dr. Jorge Ocampo. Those were our starts in the International League of Dermatological Societies. And then about 8 years ago, we started working in the board of the ILDS, first as Latin American representative in the region, and now as Secretary General. I can tell you that this has been one of the most gratifying experiences I've had along my career, because I've been able to meet with different experts in dermatology in different parts of the world, to listen to different ideas and to hear for different regional needs, and to have a global vision of dermatology and what we can do for them. Once in every 2 years, we have the World Skin Summit. This year, it is going to be hosted in South Africa, and it is very important opportunity to hear other leaders. ILDS is formed by member societies, so the presidents and secretaries representing societies from all over the world come to these meetings, and they can share experiences of global issues that are affecting or that are in need in different parts, and help us to tailor the strategy to go forward in the ILDS. Here it was, we can see uh, one of the board meetings that was uh, held in the Regional Dermatology Training Center in Moshi in Tanzania. Now ILDS has started another one very successfully in the Pacifics. So we hope that in the future, we don't know it's going to be very near, but it's going to be very important to have this kind of regional dermatology training centers in different continents to well, help and develop dermatology and skin health for the world. Here I am with Dr. Henry Lim, that I can see, or I can tell you that he has been one of the most important examples as global leader in my life. Uh, we have we had met him in his academic profession or uh, role as photobiology expert, but I had never been close to a global leader with the influence that he has, and it is very important to recognize that he has been making friends and colleagues and having respect from them all over the world. So that is something that we should always look forward to, because you can never run alone. In this academic or global leadership, you have to be surrounded of people that share your interests, that are willing to work this hard work and take these long walks with you. And he has been very inspiring for me in this leadership. Here it is another important part of my journey, where I have met international colleagues that have common interests in many aspects of dermatology. One of my friends that we have been friends for more than, I think, 20 years is Dr. Rashmi Sarkar. I have to recognize her that she has been working very hard for all these years. And in the other side, we are in the Women's Dermatological Society reunion with Tanya Sestari, Vanji Handok, Rashmi, and me. Here it's also our very other important friends for me. This is Ricardo Perez Alfonso, and in the other side I can see Dr. José Luis López Estebarans. Both we have worked very closely for the last 10 years or so, and I am also very proud of their friendships. And almost concluding this talk, or sharing these experiences, I want to recognize that your staff is very, very important in completing your tasks and your work. Here we can see in the office with SILAT staff in Argentina, where we can see our CEO, Santiago Gatti, Gabriela Magri, and all the rest of the staff that every day supports you in the everyday work, that it is very much. If here in the middle, you can see my secretary. She was my personal assistant for more than 20 years. And in the other side, it's Silvia Lara, she was our administrative coordinator for many, many years. Without Rosa Munoz, that was my secretary for so many years, she knew perfectly well the agenda, the things that were pending, the administrative work. She was really my right hand for many, many years, as the same as Silvia, and it was supported with here when I had my 35 years of uh, work in General Hospital. You can see my nurse, that it is Betty, and then the other two secretaries that were in touch with patients, Silvia Lara and me. So I have to recognize that having good staff that helps you about 60% of the work, and you can be supported by them. As you can see, many of them are women. They have challenges with families, with childbearing years, but nevertheless, they are always ready to help and perform as perfect as every other person. It is a pity that we looked for a picture of me with the ILDS staff and I don't have one. So my very next uh, project is to have a picture with them where I can show also so important work that they do for the ILDS, and now as a Secretary General for this very important society, I could never achieve my work without them. So I thank you for all of this. And here, this is a very important part. As you move along, you have lots of friends, lots of residents. So try to be close to them, have fun with them. It is not only work. You can go to different places, get to know them, their needs, their families, and to try to bring them near you. Here we can see it is myself, Margarita Larralde, another colleague from Argentina. And here we can see Hassan, that appeared suddenly in this picture, and we have also many things to learn from him because he is always in a good mood. I don't know how he does that, but it is very inspiring for the rest of us. And in this picture in the bottom, we can see, this is maybe an historic picture. We can see Dr. Rafael Lisa, that has now passed away. Then Dr. Roberto Arena, that is one of the most important leaders in Latin America, Dr. Fernando Gatti, and Dr. Jorge Ocampo. And here we can see a colleague from Spain, Patricia Chang from Guatemala, and me. And we do plans as we have funds together, and we achieve our goals within good friends that you know you can rely on. But that doesn't exclude that you can have fun with your residents, celebrate the important things in their lives, and, well, many times to share with them as a big family, which you're spending almost 8 to 10 hours in a day. So as a conclusion, there is no way to get through the leadership without working hard. It is difficult to set your goals, but make an effort every day to do a little bit more. Have in mind your goals, but also, very importantly, the goals, needs, and situations of the people that surround you that may enable to understand them and to ask different things from them. Be aware, and this is very important, that you are part of a team, and in a team, sometimes you do what you want, and sometimes you do what is needed. And that doesn't make you more or less important. So do what is needed, although it is not always your priority. It is very important as a leader, as a mentor, as a friend, to set the opportunities for your collaborators, residents, doctors, staff, to help them reach their goals and be independent. The last thing you want is to be them always depending on you. You want to make them uh, uh, start and search for their own path and have their own opportunities. Help them identify their strengths and help them develop them. For example, maybe uh, you are part of a group, and as me, I am a good operative person. If you give me a chore, I will implement it and conclude it. But maybe it is like something not everybody has. Set an example. It is very, very important that if you want to be a class started on time, you have to be before the residents. If you want them to stay last, you have to be the last to go. And that is simple things. You cannot ask them to write a paper if you don't write a paper, to start a research project if you don't lead them to it. So set an example. And it is very important to listen to what they need. Many times you say, well, I want you to be a surgeon, but they don't want to be a surgeon. They want to be a mycologist. And it is as important as being any other thing. So listen to their needs and support them in their path. Be clear and congruent. If you say you are going to do something, do it. Because if not, you will be not trustful. Be honest and kind, that it is very important. Surround yourself with people you can trust. That I think that it was one of the most important things I have done and to have success, and be grateful and say thank you for all the opportunities that you've had, will have, and will share. Nothing can be done without a family. And a family doesn't always means to have a, a, a traditional family. That you can choose whatever you want and name it as a family. This is my brothers and my brother-in-law and my sisters that are been always with me. Now we have a new daughter, and we are very happy with it. So it is very important to rely on your family and have support from them in different stages of your life. So I thank you for listening during this time, and I am grateful for this nice invitation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ivonne. I think everybody who's heard it must have been very touched, and there are so many take-home points, so many tips and tricks. It was a very beautiful journey, and I'd really like to thank you for putting this all together for all our dermatologists from different societies. Now, we'll take a few questions. I think Dr. Gomez had raised up her hand. Dr. Gomez, would you like to unmute and ask a question? Because she had put it up, quite some time back. Dr. Minerva Gomez. Yeah. Can you just unmute her? Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Gomez, you can ask the question either in Spanish or in English, whatever, is comfortable, for you.
No, I think just she has mentioned in the chat that she thanks very much Dr. Arellano for sharing with us the journey. That's
The
what she
journey.
wants to say.
Yeah, thank you so much, for saying that. So I'm going to ask you a question,
Yes.
Ivonne, it's all been very beautiful. You've really talked about the entire journey positively. But I would still like to ask you that, you have been a leader and a woman dermatologist leader at that. So there must have been at least some obstacles that you faced, during your journey. I know that, they may be looking less because as women dermatologists, we all have our strengths and challenges, would you just tell us maybe, one or two points about that and how did you overcome them?
Yes, I think that one of the most important challenges that I have faced is that dermatology is very competitive and that sometimes um, um, your work is not like valued, but mainly but for by other women dermatologists. So I think that it is very important that now that we have these leadership positions, we can understand and promote other women, but to work and to share with them the opportunities that you had liked and that you cannot have, um, and to recognize that you have dual career demands that make sometimes the chores very difficult. For example, household and childcare. And this is very important, mainly for young dermatologists, because they have or they need and they deserve the opportunity of choosing to form a family. And we, as leaders, we have we have faced the challenge of having other professionals not recognizing that if you slow a little bit in these years when your child is uh, very like a baby, and then you will close the gap. So it has not to be an issue that gives you stress. And it is very important that, to be fair, in the last years, the spouses, brothers, fathers, grandfathers have collaborated as much as the rest of the family. So it is challenging to have a family network that supports you in this endeavor of having a professional life. And they are a very important strength in general for female professionals in all of the areas of medicine.
So thank you so much, for answering that. I think you've partly answered also something what Valeria had asked, because I think she did ask about, how to, lead in an international project or something like that, because a lot of people feel that they may not always get mentors. But one thing I'd like to reiterate what, Yvonne said, and I think it's the same for all of us, for women dermatologists, you don't have to always be in a rush because I think there are life cycles. As she very rightfully said, only one that was even during childbirth and early childhood, child rearing. I think it's a wonderful period. You don't have to be in a rush. If you miss a few years, you will make up. I think
Yes,
women dermatologists always make up.
yes, and as you saw from my starts, it is very important as a parent, as a mother, that to be with your child as much as you can and not to be guilty for giving that time, because they are very important moments and that will make no harm to your professional career. And that you know that we, well, as mentors, as friends, as sisters, as caregivers, we are going to always support you in these developing years. And that not being present means that you cannot work. Now it is easier to do or to choose other tasks from home. So you can participate as a professor, writing a paper, doing other things, not necessarily require your presence for so many hours that it is impossible in the start.
So I think before I hand it over to Jorge, there's one question from Lydia. Lydia has actually thanked you for sharing your inspiring and very successful journey in dermatology, Dr. Lydia Womart. And she also said that, like you've talked about mentorship, is this kind of a mentorship really available even for nurses? That is because you have, what I liked was that you mentioned, your nurses also. So that was, I think, a very wonderful gesture. So this is a question, in a nutshell, I think, is that right, Dr. Lydia? So do you have any answer for that? And then I'm going to hand it over to you, Jorge, whether you want to take up some questions from the chat box.
Sure.
Yes, we've had mentorship for nurses, mainly in wound care and in the caring for patients, as for example, with DRESS or pemphigus. And I can tell you that being close to your nurses and teaching them how to care for patients gives you a very important support in running a dermatology department. They can make a lot of things easier for you. And yes, we should also take them in account when you are starting mentorship programs.
Thank you. Jorge, there's some question from Dr. Mehta, Hiteshi Mehta. Maybe she can unmute and you can take her question. Because I'm just trying to see the ones. Would you unmute? Maybe. Yeah, you can please give the question,
Good evening, Dr. Mendoza. Good evening, Dr. Jorge. Many thanks, Dr. Mendoza. You're truly an inspiration, and it was a privilege to hear from you. So my question is that for someone who is just starting their academic dermatology career after MD, what core areas should they focus on in their first few years beyond just research and publications in order to build a lasting, impactful career in science and leadership?
Yes, thank you for your question. It is very important. Well, I can tell you that it is very important that you choose a line of work. For example, like you have to be a good general dermatologist, but maybe you think that you are most attracted to pigmentary disorders or to dermatological surgery. So choose a line and start working in that precise thing without overlooking other areas. And in that sense, you can make experience, research, and write your experience because many times we go to different congresses and we hear about papers that have been published and we say, oh my goodness, I saw exactly the same case and I did other thing. So publish your experience, and because it is very important, there is no little experience or big experience. It is very important to share your opinions and your thoughts and write them.
Thank you so much, Yeah. So over to you, Jorge.
Oh, well, there's the question from Valeria here from Monterrey. She mentioned, thank you for sharing your professional journey with us. I would like to congratulate you. As in addition to being a great leader in the field of dermatology, you are also a wonderful person. The question is, what would you be your greatest advice for residents who in the future would like to lead an international project, such as a congress or a symposium, or hold a position in an international society?
Yes, it is very important, Valeria, thank you very much, that you start a career in your local society. It is very important to be a member, then to participate, maybe presenting some works, then uh, uh, knowing other colleagues which you can have common projects, and to implement multi-center, for example, works or trials. You don't have always to be in a public institution to do a very nice work. Here in Mexico, we have examples of people that have done very good and excellent research um, work in private practice or in private institutions. So you have to find a way, but it is always very important to stay connected with your colleagues. And this is mainly done through the dermatological society that you want to be part of.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Anything else, Jorge, if you want to, maybe one last question that you would like to ask, Ivonne? I don't think there are any more raised hands.
Okay, well, yes, for sure. I have a lot of questions for my friends, but which is the International League of Dermatology Society project that really close to your heart in those last 4 years that you have been working as Secretary General? Which is your project that inspire more to you?
Well, I think mm, two projects are very important. But first of one, participating in the World Skin Summit, where you can hear different opinions and issues from global dermatology. It is very important for me. And the other very important project is what we call GPEC, that we had the opportunity to start in that project with the ideas of Lars French, and now I'm the chair of that program, that it is the uh, global partnerships for education and care, where you have the opportunity to set the partnership of different departments of dermatology of all the world, and they apply for this financial support, where they can do visits, exchange knowledge, and participate in different parts of the continents. So it is a very important project for me, because it helps to improve the standard of dermatological education and care worldwide. So it is like part of the natural training in different departments. And well, by the way, we are very close to have these the open applications for this program. So I think that different departments of dermatology can apply for this, and that it is like something that really works and enriches your the knowledge of different departments and residents.
Here's another
Yeah, one
question
question, last question.
from Bonfilio Lascano. In your opinion, what leadership skills are most critical for a dermatologist to develop during residency?
Mm, um, I think that the most important skill you can get is the ability to get things done. If you don't have this ability, many things are going to pass in front of you. So if you have to do a webinar, it has to be done, completed, and thoughtfully organized. If you have to be on call, do it the best you can. If you have to organize a rotation program, organize it very importantly, because many times you want to do things and you start things, but you don't complete them. So the first skill is to get what you are saying. If you say you are going to do something, do it and complete it. The second one is that this work that you've done has to be an example first to your fellow residents, then to your professors, and then if you're doing something, as I said, publish it. And it is very important for you as a leader to have the opportunity to I don't know how to say it, is that all the members in your team are able to speak, to be considered, and to give in something that has to be done, and that you acknowledge them for the work they do. If you don't recognize the work of others, you will never be a good leader.
I think those are such wonderful points, Ivonne. And about completing the project is something, which is very common, something that I always say. And I think I'd just like to add developing good social skills, listening
Yes.
skills, and also empathy towards your patients, your fellow residents. I think
Yes.
that is also very important. We need it in today's world, which is there. So with that, I'd really like to thank you, Ivonne, because that was a lovely journey and it really connected with the audience, That's perhaps also how all of us feel, And that was important. And thank you for taking us through that and leaving a lot of tips and tricks as a teacher, as a professor, as a dermatologist, as an international dermatologist. And thank you so much, Jorge, also for being with us because, it really made a difference, You're being
Thank you.
there and,
Thank you
asking
very much,
questions.
Rashmi. It's a pleasure to be here. And I just
Yeah.
want to congratulate my dear friend Ivonne for her excellent leadership talk. She's a true
Absolutely.
example for new generations of dermatologists, a great leader whose work continues to inspire many young dermatologists, especially women in our field.
Yeah, and it's continuous hard work. I think there are no shortcuts. That is what she's shown. I'd like to thank the ILDS Secretariat, especially Arpita, Jennifer, and Emma, for being here. They are the hands and the minds, behind this entire webinar. If you see those, it's been coming again and again. But thank you so much to the audience. The audience is the dermatologists from our member societies all over the world. And I can see people from Asia, Africa, Europe, as well as South America, all have joined. And this is a wonderful place. Please do share feedback with the ILDS Secretariat. And we'll keep you posted for the next webinar, but we are going to have, the next webinar is going to be a masterclass on psoriasis, and that's going to be during the month of October 2025. Until then, have a great week. And, please do keep watching all these, videos which are there on the YouTube. You will find it under the resources tab of ILDS, educational resources. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Thank you very much.